isn't for you. This is my money. It's mine, not yours.
Emotional for everybody involved because a lot is at stake as the city of Dallas finds a solution, maybe, to the financial problems of the police and fire pension fund. City Council member Philip Kingston, one of the city's representatives on the pension funds board. One of the problems was, and you feel for that retiree and others, this was a very generous plan that offered more than it could deliver.
Well, anytime you make a promise to somebody and then break it, they're going to distrust you and they're going to be angry and upset. And that's what we're seeing from our beneficiaries. And it's very, I mean, how can you blame them?
Right, right. The problem is the money is just not there. And you also have an obligation to the taxpayers of the city of Dallas. The retirees would like to say, somebody make this money up. Taxpayers of the city of Dallas are saying, we didn't create the problem.
And that's also accurate. You know, this is it's a money problem. It has to get fixed with money, but it's not going to get fixed in a manner that's as generous as was promised to these beneficiaries. And that's, there's no way to avoid the breach of trust that creates.
Right. So let's talk about what this does come from a state lawmaker who's a key maker, a key lawmaker who's got to make this thing happen down in Austin. What does the city need permission to do from the state of Texas?
A couple of things. To increase the percentage that we contribute to the pension on behalf of every employee. Also to increase the amount that each employee puts in from each check. And then also to annuitize the drop balances, meaning that we are going to turn those cash balances into annuities that pay out on the life expectancy of each beneficiary.
So you basically, there's a bunch of money in what these drop accounts, which is, we don't have a day
about
and a half.
About $1 billion.
About $1 billion, and so you basically are buying an annuity or a life insurance policy that's going to pay out regularly rather than in a lump sum.
Right.
Okay. City would contribute extra $11 million a year, which, I mean, in the scheme of things, in the city of Dallas budget, doesn't seem like a lot.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you think is a lot. We, you know, our streets budget is about $90 million. Okay. So, I mean, if you're looking at what city services aren't going to get funded, you know, we spend less than $10 million a year trying to solve the homeless problem. Yeah. $11 million a year for the 20 or 30 years they're talking about doing it is a net present value of $190 million.
So for the retirement age under this plan would also go up for some, the younger ones. You come in as a new firefighter, a new police officer. You're told up front, or you will be, it's not going to be the good old 20-year retirement plan. It might be a 22, a 23, a 25-year plan. Do we know what?
Yes, 58 is what Chairman Flynn has proposed for the retirement age, and that's not I think a lot of viewers would think that that's pretty normal, that people should be anticipated to work a long time. But you got to remember the kind of work that these people do. Right. It's more physically demanding and it's more stressful than most of our jobs. So 58 is not a small thing.
That would be a combination of age and service.
Exactly.
Right. Money would be paid out, again, as you said, based on average life expectancy, so that. But there would be some people whose payments from that account would come to an end at some point later in their lives.
Well, if they manage to outlive their life expectancy, they would get their full account benefit. They would get what they're asking us for now. It's just over time.
I'm sure this is frustrating and sad for you to have to go back to these people who served the city of Dallas, in some case for decades, and say, we cannot keep our promise to you. And there are a lot of people that I hear from who say somebody needs to go to jail about this deal. Who mismanaged this, and is anybody going to go to jail?
I think both of those things are true. It's incredibly frustrating and sad for me. It's not a fun thing to tell people that their plans that they've made with their families, in most cases, are not going to come true. Also, I'm very hopeful that the FBI is going to bring some kind of indictment. They have, you know, they raided our offices. They have all the data. We've cooperated with them fully. And it's up to them to determine whether any, you know, criminal laws were violated. But I think that we all want to see justice.
And we'll wait and see. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you coming in and kind of being the point guy on this for the city. We appreciate it.